Dean Jackson's VCR formula. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. I wanted to talk a little bit about Dean Jackson, who's a bit of a marketing genius. You can hear a lot of his podcasts out there. I Love Marketing, Welcome to Cloudlandia, all this other stuff out there. It's great stuff. Dean is an amazing person to get to know and to find out more about. So be sure and look into him because he's got some great ideas. This is one of them. And the reason why I'm bringing up this idea is because it came back to me in my own voice with different words. And it's only because I had already heard it. So I had written down, there's really only 3 things that you need to be able to be successful in business, to be able to move forward in business. And so I look and I kind of wrote down kind of what was in my mind, these 3 things. And then I went back, and yesterday we were talking about this honey situation. You go back and watch or listen to that. And it reminded me of these 3 things. And I said, well, that's really tied to the VCR thing. So I went back and I looked at the VCR thing. It's identical. I came up with the same thing with different words, and the words that Dean came up with are even better. So VCR stands for 3 separate words. Okay. And this is a formula. You got to find out what you got to look at it in terms of what you bring to the table and what you need from somebody else. Now, sometimes you've got a wide enough spectrum of conation, I should say, that you can do this all on your own. This is why you see some people able to start good-sized businesses and do it completely on their own. Most of us aren't so lucky. Most of us have a difficult time with that, and we're so good at one area and not good at all at the others. So V is for vision. C is for capabilities, and R is for reach. I'll explain this. So no matter what type of business venture you're talking about, there's always a vision person. The vision person is the one that has an idea of where you're going. At least it may be completely vague, but they have some idea of what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to put together to sell in the marketplace or what have you. That's the vision person. Now, entrepreneurs tend to lead toward the vision side of things. The people who we call entrepreneurs or the business owner, that tends to be the area that they at least have some idea of. C is for capabilities. Capabilities is the actual ability to do what needs to get done to be able to get the thing out to the market, to get the product or service out there and done and functioning and providing and everything, all the things that go along with whatever your widget is. And I'm talking product or service when I say widget, it's anything. That's what capabilities are. And a lot of us don't have that many capabilities. We have a lack of capability. And so you need to find somebody who has that capability. And the quicker you could do that, rather than having to build up the capability yourself, you can do it yourself. But if you can find somebody that already has the capability, you can take that shortcut and get further. The final thing is R, reach. Reach is, how are you going to reach the final audience? This is my understanding of it, is reaching the final audience. So you're thinking of marketing and so forth. And there's a whole lot of shortcuts to this too. So you could, if you knew somebody that already had the reach, they already have a YouTube channel that's got millions of people following it. They already have a podcast. They already have an email list, what have you. Some people already have that reach, and you can go through to them and team up with them, even if you are only a vision person and you have someone else who has the capability. You find somebody with the reach, now you've made it. These are the 3 things necessary to be able to move forward with this. It may not just be one person in each of these slots. It may take 10 people to be able to accomplish, or 100 people to accomplish any of these things. But when you think about it, it's really a magic formula, because it takes away the need for you to have to be them all. The best thing that happened to me in business is when I realized that I can't do it all and keep my sanity. Me personally, I can't. I tend to be much more on the vision side of things, less so on the capability, depending on what it is we're dealing with, and usually less so on the reach, depending on what it is that we're dealing with. But if you can put all those pieces together, I've got a project I'm working on right now where somebody really has a whole, they have a big piece of the vision, they have some of the capability, and I actually have a piece of the capability, and but they definitely have the reach. Because even if you don't know anybody that has these things, well, who does? Well, Google and Facebook and the company that owns the billboard. I'm trying to think of the word. Billboards. I mean, any type of media out there that you can purchase. A person that the newspaper, the whatever, anything that can be purchased, media, what we call advertising. Any type of advertising is reach. All you're doing is you're exchanging money for that reach to that audience, to that end user. That's VCR. It's a very magical formula because it simplifies something that can be overly the top complicated if you look at each of the little details that go on with every single business. But if you could step back, every business comes back to that formula. It's a brilliant thing. Thank you so much, Dean Jackson, for coming out with it. I can't take any credit. all these ideas I hear at some point, and then I steal, and then I twist it around, and sometimes I don't even know I did it. And that's why I could never be a comedian, because I'd end up using everybody's jokes and not know that I was using their jokes. So go check that out, VCR Formula. There's a podcast. I'm going to put a link in the description. You go listen to it from I Love Marketing, an episode where they discuss the VCR formula. Very interesting. Both Dean Jackson and Joe Polish talking on there. That's all I got for today. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hey, go check out my book, 9 Ways to Amazon-Proof Your Business. If you really want to just completely dominate your industry, dominate your marketplace, this is the book for you. This is a good starting block. This is where you can sit down and really make some long-term strategies. Great for the new year. 9 Ways to Amazon-Proof Your Business. Get a free copy at AmazonProofBook.com. That's all I got. You have a good night. Get out there and let the magic happen.